from like, words that pop up in popular culture over the years. I'm not that hip to like newer words anyway, in general, because I'm an older person these days. But I try to integrate some of it when I can.
Yeah, you're not missing much. It's just like some of the words now with these kids are saying.
Some of the stuff I've watched and listened to teenagers nowadays talking on like YouTube videos and stuff like that, and some of the words they use and stuff like that are stupid.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
A lot of them are like very like like supposed to be ghetto, like black kind of type words, like the gangsta or whatever type words, and a lot of them are just stupid. But anyways, folks, wow, it's fucking wonderful to be on the MCU's Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast on a Wednesday evening, December 3rd. Holy fuck, it's December. Christmas is coming soon. Jesus Christ. So yeah, a Wednesday evening for myself, Jeff S., aka TrueKnowledge, humbled to be the co-host of the MCU's Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast. Also always humbled all the time, without question, as my co-host Cyberneticshark. He who of always having the best green screens on the live streams with us, is always here, and is on the panel tonight. So he gets to expound. Right, Cyber?
Yes, I get to expound.
There you go, sir. Another wonderful word. There you go. So, Andre's the pop culture guy who sometimes is a special guest co-host with us, and then other times is just the third member of the MCU's Bleeding Edge squad, depending on the week and the evening. Is always with us. He's very loyal and consistent as a creator and teammate. And I think he's become very adept at covering TV shows like Welcome to Derry, based off all of the, wonderful, varied experiences he's got to have with me and Cyber here on the Bleeding Edge.
Yes, it's very true. I learned a lot this last.
We've pumped out a lot of fucking TV shows in the last 2+ years.
Yeah, which is crazy. And we got a couple more, which is cool.
I take pride in it. It's nice to see that we're racking up numbers of the fucking TV shows.
Yeah, they're the fun parts. Yeah.
I briefly checked out the TV layout for 2026, and what I saw just briefly looks pretty good, depending on when the shows all come out throughout the year. There's a lot coming out.
Yeah.
Shogun is actually slated, believe it or not, according to the hey Greg, according to the article that I read from whatever fucking publication it was, I cannot remember for the life of me what it was. Shogun is slated to produce a season in 2026, which I was very surprised to see. There was no like extra information for that, like some of the other TV shows where they had extra information to go along with the title. All it said was Shogun 2026, not season 2, nothing like that, but it had Shogun listed for 2026. So that's a little bit surprising. I really didn't think it was possible for them to produce another season of Shogun that quickly, from scratch. since they started off with that being a limited series, you know, and they didn't really have established, studios and everything set up, to just immediately jump right into to making multiple seasons of the show. So I don't know, guys. That could be bullshit. That could just be some bullshit that they threw up there on that website just to be assholes or whatever. But according to the site,
yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt, Jeff.
all the other titles seemed accurate from my knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know why they'd have Shogun listed if that's not coming out next year.
No. I checked. No, it's more like they're starting production in 2026 in Vancouver. So it's not going to be in 2026. I just double checked.
Okay, well, there you go. It's already bullshit.
Yeah.
It happens,
Yeah, I know. I do want to see Shogun again. I love that show.
When you look up, the list of the TV shows that are coming out in a given year, and you look at the articles that come up, a lot of times they give you bad information.
Yeah. Because they don't know, like, when they're going to air. It's because now it takes 2 or 3 years to get the shows off.
Sometimes I think they just stick them in there. I swear, just based off chronological timeline, the amount of years it's been since the last season and stuff like that, they just go ahead and do it. But no, it doesn't look like there's a lot of really good stuff coming out TV wise in 2026. Cross our fingers, I guess. Blade Runner 2099 is coming out on Prime. And that would be our first Prime series we've ever done, which would be really cool.
Second. Remember.
Second. I'm sorry. Fallout.
Yeah, Fallout is our first.
Oh, and Rings of Power. Cyber, my bad. Rings of Power.
Oh, I forgot about Rings of Power. Oh, I felt bad for you guys.
It's really easy to forget about Rings of Power, so don't feel bad about that. So anyways, Greg, I didn't mean to be neglectful towards you, sir. I don't want to, be that kind of guy tonight.
Fine. I was having my own technical nightmare, so I was just like,
well, I was going to say the penalty is when you come on late that you don't get to have a nice clean intro.
That's fine. I deserve it.
You just kind of come in however you come in. You know what I'm saying? And roll with it. So anyways, it's good to have you, Greg. Good to have you back, man. Can't complainers in the house. For either the third or fourth occurrence, I think.
Second time. This is
second time. You know what? I've been really off on my guesstimations on things like that lately, and I need to work on that. But it happens, So anyways, we're here to do it. Welcome to Derry, episode 6. We're already into episode 6 so far in season 1. So we have 2 left for Cyber and Andres to moderate, and then we're going to wrap this bitch up. Episode 6 felt like an episode 6, I think, in retrospect, after having literally just watched the episode. It had to end less than half an hour ago, where it's pretty fresh for me. I will, of course, go to you, Greg, to get everybody on the panel into the show, at this point. And since you're, coming on, as a guest creator with us tonight, Greg, let me go first with you. And it's up to you, sir. You could either talk about episode 6 or your thoughts on season 1 of the show so far, since this is your first time doing a recap with us so far this season. Whatever you want. Take, you have latitude, sir.
So the It movies, the part 1 and part 2, I really liked part 1, but it wasn't great. And honestly, it just didn't, it felt like a really watered down story, telling of the story. This show, however, I am thoroughly enjoying much more than I did the movies.
They're doing totally different things. From what I understand, I didn't watch those movies, but from what I understand about them, they're doing a lot of different concepts in this show that they didn't do in those movies.
Yeah, because one of the things is in the movies, it is going up against the Losers Club, and they are they're like the reckoning force to him. We never really get to see Pennywise in his like element where he's like the ultimate like killing machine for all of these years. And so that's what I'm really digging about the show is I know for a fact nothing's going to hurt him. So I'm just like, I get to really see him in his absolute primal element. And I'm loving the origin stuff. I'm loving how we're jumping from time to time. And from my understanding, if the show, I don't believe it's been considered for a season 2 yet, but they have.
Yeah. Season 2 has a big time jump,
Yeah.
going down,
Yeah,
to like
going
year
down.
1940 something,
Yeah.
and then season 3 is the last season. That's going to be in like 1906.
Yeah. And so like I'm really looking forward to seeing how further back we're going to go, get some more information about this creature. I mean, obviously from Stephen King lore, I know what this creature is and all that stuff, but I want to know, like, I want to actually just see it in action, but the show is just absolutely kicking ass for me. You said earlier that this episode feels like a episode 6. I was a little mad because in my head I'm so used to shows having like 10 episodes a season. So I was like, wow, they're really jumping to the ending really quickly, and it's only episode 6. And then I looked it up. I was like, oh damn, there's only 8 episodes. I was like, all right, then fine. Yeah, I guess it makes sense to do this. But honestly, the show it's hitting every mark for me, and I'm absolutely enjoying it thoroughly. Because at some point during production, I read that what's his name, Bill Skarsgård wasn't going to be in the show, and so they started like trying to like do another story, which I feel
No, he was always attached to the show.
He was. I felt like
Yeah.
at some point he was
Because they made him an executive producer on the show or whatever right from jump.
All right, perfect. Because I guess the reason why I bring it up is because the whole periwinkle stuff. I'm kind of I'm okay that it's there, but I'm just like, oh, all right, I guess we'll have this other clown hanging around. But I don't know. I get who she is, but yeah, it honestly the show has hit every mark for me, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
Yeah, that's sounds great, brother. Appreciate your positivity. Yeah, the show's a lot different than the films, and that's good. And it's a really cool, creative decision to actually show us a character for once in a film and TV format. Show us, give us information about a character, give us a chance to learn more about a character, but do it in a timeline where we're going back in time, not going forward in time. You know what I'm saying?
And you don't have to read a million Stephen King books.
But that's just very contradictive to the formula of Hollywood and typical television. You know what I'm saying? As far as how they usually handle, giving the audience a chance to really get to know a character over multiple seasons of the show. You know what I mean? It's always moving forward in time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and plus I'll tell you what, I really love how awesome HBO is when it comes to pulling off great, really super authentic, historic timelines and time periods in their shows. They're really good at it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure that the next, other 2 seasons of Welcome to Derry will probably look great, anyways, so same question to you, Cyberneticshark, my friend. Have at it, sir.
Simply put it, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was a really fun episode. I thought that there was a lot of great information that we finally got that kind of cleared up some of the things we were talking about in previous reviews that we did, kind of what we were theorizing and stuff like that. So I think that's great. And I think overall, it kind of took what last episode didn't do and gave us some really great, even more Pennywise action, and gave us this really great, interesting backstory that I just absolutely enjoyed. Really fantastic episode. Really enjoyed it, and overall, just a really fun episode.
Okay, Cyber, that was very, very, very concise of you, sir. You wrapped that contribution up quickly. But that's okay, sir. We appreciate your efficiency. Anyways, so yes, episode 6 has some good things going for it. I really thought it was totally like a typical episode 6, where it was really like a establishment episode or a setting up the story, setting up the next couple episodes, type episode for me. That's how I felt towards it, kind of, in the audience, as far as how it was structured and what actually occurred during the episode, as far as the events, what happened with the story. It was all pretty laid back, and pretty basic. You know what I'm saying? Not a lot of like really big new stuff happened, and that's very typical of like an episode 6, or an episode 8 or 9. Anyways, Andre's the pop culture guy, sir. Round us out on your thoughts on the season and episode 6 for sure.
Yeah. Fantastic show. I kind of agree with Greg here. I seen the first 2 films, and it's trying to be a 4-quadrant film, for everyone, despite it's rated R. I prefer the show over the films because they're giving me what I always want to see more Pennywise, and there's just this group. The show's been very consistent, very excited. Very sad it's almost done in 2 weeks. I just really want more of these. But yeah, I really like this episode 6. Agree with Cyber. Finally, we got some confirmation with the theories I had.
Andres, I'm sorry, sir, but do you not actually see Pennywise really at all, or something like that, in those It films? I don't get it.
You do, but it's almost like a different Pennywise. Like, Pennywise we're getting in the show is like dial set to 11. The Pennywise we get in the movies, the dial's kind of comfortably at like 6. But like it's like that's why I said we're getting a different primal version.
I get it. Okay, so this is almost like a more powerful version of Pennywise.
Nothing can stop him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because Greg before, the movies, he has like a enemy to like the face with is the Losers Club, and so with this, this first season, it's cool to see, not only the kids but like the adults. That's been my favorite thing because the chapter 2 of it is the weakest because of the adult story is so uninteresting. Here, this show is kind of crazy. The show made the adult storyline so much more interesting than the movies, which is kind of crazy. But it's just different style. Very excited.
That's a good point, Andres. The adult storyline has been the stronger storyline of the show.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean even the kids, it's not that bad, but the adult storyline is really good. I'm liking the idea of like jumping to the important timeline, like where Pennywise hit Derry and like the historic like massacre and like or the kill that we heard from the movies are going to be presented in the season, which is great. Like we're seeing that now, actually, in the next episode. Where this is in the chapters and it where the black spot is going to be attacked, and that was a thing in the book. So I'm very excited to see that come to light.
Each cycle ends with a big tragedy, and in this 27-year cycle, the black spot is that event. And so,
exactly. So I'm like, oh, that's really good. And we know that especially this episode, I don't want to get into it, but it's cool that we got like a little glimpse of the 1935 because I don't know which timeline they're gonna go next, but like it has to be the 1935 because that's the did they say that was 1935, those flashback scenes? Yes. In the beginning, if you don't it's very quick. It's say 1935. Yeah.
You could tell because it's in black and white.
yeah.
Yeah, well, no, I wrote down on my notes. I notated right from jump. Wow, that's the first time we've had black and white in the show so far. You know,
Yeah.
that surprised me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. You've been watching the behind the scenes stuff that HBO does for their shows.
I haven't for this show. I have not.
Oh, it's really good. I really like it. I always tend to watch it after the episode, and with this one, they did it because back then movies were black and white during the 1930s, so it made sense that they did that in this episode for that timeline. And
same thing. The same reason WandaVision did it.
Yeah, exactly. So it was really cool they did that, and the only color we saw is just the red and like the eyes of Pennywise, which was very creepy. But yeah, overall, very excited to talk about this episode.
Yeah, so far it's a great prequel show. It's working out pretty well. And I'm hearing a lot of same opinions from other people, online and whatnot. Saying that the show is better than the films. Essentially. I love the use of flashbacks in this show. I think it's great. It's a good addition, to the episodes. Whenever they go in that direction, they don't do it a lot, but it works. I just want to quickly say that I thought episode 6 was a really solid 6th episode, for sort of a build up, setting up sort of episode, not a finale episode or a pentapulate episode or something like that, where a lot happens. It still ended up being a really solid, watchable, entertaining, informative episode of a good show, which has been a consistent thing so far for me in this season. I think, the episodes have all been pretty good, there really hasn't been any bad episodes so far for me, in my watch anyway. So yeah, I guess let's dive into what I believe is, if I can find my, what did I lose my fucking Wikipedia thing? Well, I guess I did. This is my Google search I was looking at earlier in the day. Dumbest wife kills husband. I'm a fan of true crime. Anyways, so in Welcome to Derry starts off episode 6. Well, really quick. Directed by James Travis for the first time. Written by Jason Fuchs again. And Cord Jefferson and Brad Caleb Kane. I can't remember how often they've written so far throughout the season. I think Brad Caleb Kane has done a couple other episodes too. It's been pretty much a loose group of like 4 or 5 writers, I think, so far. With Fuchs doing most of the writing out of all of them, the majority. So In the Name of the Father is the title of episode 6. And although in the Wikipedia, synopsis, it does not state this, because as usual, it's all fucked up, timeline wise. The episode, if I remember correctly, does start off with a flashback to the black and white of what if you guys can correct me on this, but was that the actual insane asylum or mental institution?
Yes, that was,
in Derry.
That was Juniper Hill. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was old school Juniper Hill, with like some younger version of
Ingrid.
Kirsch. Yeah.
Well, no, it was younger Ingrid, but who was the little girl? Was that Lily?
No. That was Maple. That's the girl for that 1935 timeline.
Okay. So Maple is a character or person that only exists in that timeline.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you guys. That explains a lot for me because I was a little bit, confused. I did not even realize that was Ingrid, in the flashbacks until later on in the episode. That's how we start off. I'm not even going to try to even explain to you what occurs really in that section, besides the fact that it gets really kind of creepy all of a sudden, it's kind of, a sort of like, awkward vibe to begin with, the energy of it. And then all of a sudden there's a balloon, and then Pennywise, presents himself, somehow in this flashback, which again, I don't always completely grasp the powers and abilities of Pennywise, but I'm really sort of getting a little bit, confused or just not understanding some of this stuff where he's starting to not only insert himself into the real life, but into flashbacks, and into like Halperin's psyche or whatever, like Shine psyche or whatever, that he has. Like, just weird shit that he's been doing. And so Pennywise kind of like, scares or attacks or haunts or whatever you want to call whatever he does, to Ingrid and the little girl, and that ends that whole scene. We jump right from there, according to the synopsis for Wiki. So let's see how accurate this is. To Leroy scolding Will for being in the sewers and orders him to stay at the base for safety. But Will confronts him and Leroy slaps the shit out of him. See, now that actually happens way later in the episode. So that's already off. Lily shows the group the pillar that saved her. This did actually happen in the beginning. And when she plans to return to kill the entity, Pennywise. She and Ronnie have a heated exchange. And I'll stop there. Now, that did actually happen right after the opening. Then it jumps quite a bit until you actually get to the Leroy scolding Will. But that does then occur in this segment that we're kind of getting into right now. If I left anything out in that, guys, please mention it, if you will. But I don't believe I did. And I'll go to you first, Andres. And go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I think you got most of it there. I mean, first, I'm surprised that Wikipedia didn't make the full page yet. But anyway, so yeah, I really enjoyed the opening of the flashback of 1935 because last week, right, that we got the confirmation, or this week, we know that Ingrid, like, has some connection with Pennywise. So, like, just remind people, in chapter 2, spoils. When Beverly went to find something, she meets up an old woman that was Ingrid, in old form, but it was actually Pennywise that was taking her form to trick Beverly and try to kill her. And so when the series became now a thing, and when this actress here, I forgot her name, the actress from The Last of the Macahinians, pumped up, it was like, okay, she has to be someone's important to the story. And of course, Ingrid is the girl that we saw in the flashback from a couple episodes ago when we first saw the kid that was going to be the general in the 1906 timeline, where she was the clown, the daughter of Gray Kirsch, the Pennywise, the dancing clown. That is the form that Pennywise, or it took, as is more form that we recognize, because because every kid is afraid of clowns, and so it was good to see, the confirmation of Ingrid, and now we understand her motivation, and that she.
At this point in the episode, we still don't know her full deal.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. Let me stop there. But a really great flashback overall because I think they had a lot of fun.
Based off the opening, sir, all we know is that she was in that flashback, and now we knew that she worked at the facility.
Yeah, well, it was interesting when she heard her dad, or good flashback. I don't want to jump too far because I wish that Wikipedia kind of.
Well, she got haunted by Pennywise, and that's a very unique and rare thing. Again, that's only happened so far in the show, where usually he never haunts or attacks adults.
No, and this is the first time you've seen him take an interest with this person, which is not a big surprise because he will use the humans at his advantage to just start chaos. And
now, what was that a dream? Was that Ingrid dreaming?
No, I think it was just an exposition flashback to let us know more about her character motivation and for things that will come up later on in the episode.
Yeah, that what it was because we don't know who was Ingrid because we just know that Ingrid knows something about Pennywise, but we don't know why, and that's where we get into
at this moment we're supposed to trust her.
I'm just still trying to make sense out of how Pennywise has this ability to enter into whatever that space was that they were in this flashback. You know what I'm saying? Whatever plane of existence that was, I'm always amazed at his powers and whatnot, how he has this ability to just, make himself appear in whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, he is an alien. I mean, he is a cosmic, powerful alien.
Yeah, he's one of two cosmic entities. Earth to literally feed. So that just took place on one of the 27-year cycles that he was a part of.
And remember, I know we just discovered it last week, but there is some connection to the sewers. It's like an alligator or those rats or creatures that they're literally he's has this huge connection in the sewers and that old house, and it takes him anywhere he wants to kind of go in the area that he's allowed to be out. So
the thought behind it is he hears everything in the sewers because everything that goes, and every house in Derry has of course sewage, so he hears everything. So it's almost like the pipes are his tentacles coming up everywhere, and he's able to get a grasp on Derry as a whole through the sewers.
No, exactly. Perfect, Greg. That's the thing. And you hear that in this flashback where the kids say something's in the pipes and
something to me.
Yeah, and so it just confirms from the movies and from last week that Pennywise is using the sewers and the tunnels that's connected to that house to Derry as the way for him to move to one location to another, that makes sense. And he's an alien, and we don't know how fast the alien is, so so I really dug this flashback. It was really cool to see Ingrid because her timeline, because her age, we know she's around 60s in the 60s, and so her age kind of fit to the timeline that we kind of know about the reveal that we get into later on. And then after that, we move into the past, back to the main timeline of the 60s, and you see Leroy, scrolling his son about what happened to the sewers and all that. And this scene was very intense. I feel really bad for Will, his dad just losing I get what Leroy is trying to do, but he's not trying his best to understand what's going on here. He's trying to to discipline his son, but it's just failing at every corner. And his kid knows more about it than he does, and he thinks that he has been controlled by Pennywise, which is kind of very true. It has happened a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
And man, that hit. When Leroy, the dad, hits Will, it's wow, really intense. And and the mom, come on, I agree with Saber. This actress here who plays the mom is she kind of stands there. Is can you do something to stop the husband doing this very aggressive thing towards their son. I don't know, that really annoyed me. But anyway, but you know, I'm happy that Will is a very strong kid, you know, and like he tries, you know, I really like Will. He's definitely my favorite character of the kids because he's trying his best to like help out Ronnie. He's trying to keep the group together and try to defeat Pennywise, which is good. Like the kids are doing what the soldiers are not doing, like they're just like doing like very proactive thing, and Will and Lily, those two characters specifically, are trying their best to like, you know, defeat this evil clown. You know, they, you know, it's
Yeah,
you
well,
know,
the kids want to kill it. The army wants
yeah,
to capture
you,
it.
yeah, catcher,
So
which is
they got two different motivations there. So
yeah, no, that's a good point. And
yeah.
yeah, and I just laughed so hard with the government. It's like, why you want to control them? You know, like
And
you
the thought
can.
that they think they can. It's just like, you really
Yeah,
think you can
yeah,
control
but it's honestly not all that shocking because any, you know, if you know anything about even like the real government throughout history, you know, like they've always, you know, gone in that direction whenever there's the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? You know, trying to weaponize, you know, anything that they can get their hands on is always the goal.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And I
You
get it.
know,
'Cause it's during the Cold War,
yeah,
nuclear Armageddon was freaking everybody out. So I'm sure they wanted to like try to find something powerful. But
yeah,
old Pennywise is not it.
yeah, exactly.
no,
And no, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like just wrapping up, I think that you know, just wrapping up with where Lydia shows the group the pillar that she got from the sewers that the Indian boy dropped in episode 5, you know, that saved her. You know, that was a really good scene, and like, you know, she, you know, now sees that this is a good weapon and that will kill it, but because Ronnie, like, it's, you know, because, you know, the dad is out and like she doesn't know where is the dad at all in terms of safety, and then like, you know, away from like the mob and all that, you know, she doesn't agree with, you know, with Lydia, and like you know, she's um putting everyone in danger. And one thing I appreciate about this show is like, you know, like I like that they're doing a lot of deep psychological like trickery. Like you don't know if Leah is crazy or not. You know, I really like that. You know, like we're you know, we don't know yet that, you know, like she, you know, is, you know, reliable or not. But I really appreciate they adding that angle to like not trust fully on Lydia's side because of like her history and like the psychological trauma she has about her dad and all that. You know,
And
so I really,
to kind of
yeah,
piggyback on you, really quick, the dagger almost, if I feel like it's giving off like a Lord of the Rings, like the One Ring, it's almost corrupting whoever's holding it. Because
yeah.
like whenever it was zooming in on them, whenever they were all fighting, and I was just like, is there like I imagine there's some bad energy in whatever these dagger things are, the meteorite
nah,
thing.
they're just being corrupted by Derry, by Pennywise overall, his power. You know what I mean? You know, his
Yeah.
energy or whatever. You know what I mean? Just like all the other townspeople. You know what I'm saying? It's
But,
not.
yeah, but there was just this random shot where it like zoomed in on it. I'm just like, what's happening?
No, they're making it clear that that is an actual like weapon or some sort of, you know, kryptonite against
Yeah.
Pennywise. You know what I'm saying? It's not dangerous to them. You know. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, no, and it's been very consistent. You know, like Pennywise has the ability to like control and like influence these people. Where this dagger thing is a new thing that they're creating within the series. That is kind of cool. That is a weakness to Pennywise because they brought it up in chapter 2, and it's been a while. I remember what chapter 2 did with the dagger, but like it didn't work in chapter 2, which was weird. And so I like that this series is like full, like meaning that the pillar can actually work and can defeat
Yeah. Well, in
Pennywise.
chapter 2, they said the only way that they could beat him was through this ritual of Chud. And
Yeah, it was
Greg,
so weird.
they didn't mention the little daggers. I think the dagger thing is new just for the show.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean the ritual of Chud is in the books as well. And so, but that didn't clearly work and fucking
nope.
killed a lot of them. But yeah, I think the dagger thing is a new creation for the show.
Greg, I'm going to go to you in just a minute, brother. So don't think you're not going to get a chance to talk about
Oh,
this.
no,
this segment, sir. Cyber, sir. Go ahead and opine.
Okay, you eloquent bastard. All right. So, this beginning section, I love the taking us back to 1935, which is definitely kind of a foreseeing of what we're going to see next season, because it'll be 27 years prior to this year, which is supposed to be 1962. So 27 years from 1962, I believe, is 1935. So we will be going back to that era again in the next season. So it was great to see that. The black and white thing I thought was kind of interesting. They decided to go that route for showing this, because I definitely think they wanted to kind of give you an ominous feeling to it. They wanted you to really pay attention. They wanted you to understand that this is definitely different from present time. So I think they did a good job doing that and having the bright red color be prominent, with the grays. So I think that was really cool. But of course, once again, we get this really great, awesome kind of imaging of Pennywise, which was really awesome. I love that. Love that kind of introduction, how he saunters himself right into that doorway, which was really freaking awesome. And, we get that, seeing of Madeline Stowe's younger version of herself in the series at the, insane asylum, which who would have thought that, we would go back to the insane asylum, Juniper Hill. Really? Like that? You didn't see that coming? Like, we know there was going to be more with Juniper Hill. We knew that, that kind of seemed like that was going to be something of a focus eventually. And I think we're probably going to see a lot more Juniper Hill in the next season too, as well. But I think that Juniper Hill is a very interesting place that we haven't got enough of. And so it was great to actually get to see a little bit of that area, kind of how it looked and everything, and gotten that type of kind of information about it. So that was really cool how it began, and leading basically through the parts that you mentioned, of course, the son being disciplined by the father because he went down the sewer. We all know the father is fucked up in the head because of what happened with his partner. We all know that, Pennywise screwed with his brain. So it's like he's not thinking with a full deck. And so what happened with him and his son there when he disciplines him, smacks him, that's not really him doing that. And so if you think it was, wait and see, people, wait and see. But at the same time, it's kind of like I was expecting something like that, especially because you're, so screwed in the head from what happened to you. Why wouldn't you go off the rails on your kid or on your wife or whatever situation? And kind of to go off of what you were talking about that actress, Andreas. Yeah, she's a horrible actress, but that was common back in the 60s, how wives reacted to when their husbands did things. It was, they followed their orders. That's just how it was. And so, it's not like today where these people are completely different in how they raise their children, and treat their children, stuff like that, which, discipline does go a long way, I still think, but, it's a lot different today. But back then, that's how it was. So I think they did a good job of depicting, 1962, how his father would react to their son and stuff like that, doing something, being somewhere where he shouldn't be and stuff like that. So that was very accurate. I think they did a good job there. But then, and then you mentioned, where are we going to?
We are going to the end of the kids having that meeting at their secret hangout.
Okay, we did go that far. Okay. So yeah, that little section was interesting because we could definitely see the kids are becoming unhinged. Definitely we're seeing what's her name? The one that went to Juniper Hill?
Lily,
thank you. We can definitely see Lily is really becoming unhinged. As we have seen through the series, through the season, we can see that she has gotten worse and worse and worse with each episode, with things that have happened to her, between being set there, between seeing what happened in the theater, to seeing what happened at that grocery store, and so forth, and just things happening and stuff like that. And just kind of like, I was surprised it took this long for her to kind of have like a mental breakdown in front of the kids. Because every time she was with the kids, she was kind of okay, but she didn't like go like manic, or she didn't like break down or go crazy. So that was interesting to finally see her actually finally kind of like lose it. And then her and the the other girl having that kind of conversation back and forth was like on point. Of course, they're both upset. They're saying things that they don't mean and stuff like that. And, both of them are just like, they're not right in the head because of what's going on with Pennywise. This is a really good example in this, the scene, especially with the one younger kid there, the boy that says, this is what he wants us to do. He wants us to be against each other. He understands it. And I think that was a good example of showing that, yeah, this is Pennywise messing with you guys and, screwing with you, and that, this is, you're going to have to buckle up and try to get through this. And I think that was a really great scene to really kind of show kind of where this losers club is at and kind of what they're at. And I love that the one girl that, almost took out her eye,
Marge.
Marge. I love that she's a part of their group now. And I think that actress is really fantastic. I like Marge. I think she's a great actress. I think she's doing a great job, and I loved her evolution throughout the season so far. And I love that she's a part of it, and kind of how her and the one kid have kind of like a thing going on.
Richie or whatever. Rich, yeah.
Have a thing going on a little bit. And I was like, ooh, Lumper is in sight. And, but yeah, I think that whole sequence is really done well. I think it's very ominous and on point of kind of where they're at in the season and kind of what they've been dealing with all, the first 5 episodes. And I think it's a solid section, a really great start to the episode, and just overall a really fun time.
All right, Greg, have at it, sir. Jump in there.
Yeah, we kind of hit all the key points, but one of the things that I'll just throw it in. Again, the Juniper Hill stuff was great. I loved it. I was mad when it stopped, and I was like, we haven't gotten enough Pennywise, and you just robbed me of a really good scene. Let's get back to the main story. But one of the big things that happened was whenever the kids are arguing, one of the things I noticed is it almost directly mirrors what happened in the movie with the Losers Club. After the losers lost their first big fight with Pennywise in the house on Neibolt Street, they all run home, they're all beaten up, and they start fighting. And they even say the exact same line that Beverly Marsh says, this is what it wants. It wants us to be torn apart. And then whenever Rich says it, he says it almost verbatim. So it mirrors almost exactly what the movies of what these kids are. It's almost like, how many times have these kids had these conversations over the past 27 years? And so, I mean, Derry has a way of corrupting everyone.
Well, I honestly don't believe, I don't mean to cut you off at all, Greg, but I don't believe at all that they're trying to insinuate that there's some sort of losers club that occurs like literally through the cycle.
I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying that I just found it interesting that it mirrored almost exactly what happened with the losers. And that was the only kind of connection I was trying to make. And as I was saying, Derry has a way of corrupting people. So when the dad, of course, hit Will, I almost called him Mike. It's the kid from, but whenever he hits Will.
Oh, I know. No, he's a total ripoff of the kid from Stranger Things. You're right.
Yeah, but I mean, so whenever he gets hit, it's just almost just like, though the military base is outside of Derry, the mere fact that he was spent time in Derry, because everybody who spends time in Derry, it gets affected by it. And so there's just a negative air. And so I feel, yes, I agree, it's not all him, but I'm sure just the negativity of Derry is bringing out the worst in him, because he has seen some shit, obviously down in the sewer from the previous episode. And so I think Pennywise is specifically targeting certain adults, and I think he is one of them. And it may come into play later, especially after the Black Spot episode, next. But yeah, and I'll leave it there.
Well, you know what? It's really open for interpretation because again, in that time period in 1962 or whatever, it was not out of the ordinary to backhand your kid. Honestly, Greg, you know that.
I agree, but I mean, whenever he stops himself and he's like, "That wasn't me,"
Sure.
it's just the entity of it affects everybody who comes into Derry.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm sure he has like firmly swatted his child, but the negative aspects of Derry is bringing out the absolute worst.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's very reminiscent to the same thing with the evil energy that would come off from the spirits at the hotel in The Shining.
Exactly.
And how it would affect the human inhabitants of the hotel. Since we've had all these awesome Shining Doctor Sleep connections so far in Welcome to Derry, which has been great. Yeah, I'm loving the teenage romance, as somebody who does not follow Stranger Things. So I personally, unfortunately, don't get to have, that experience of seeing that on that show. What I have is Welcome to Derry. So I'm definitely digging the teenage romances that are coming together throughout the season.
Hopefully we don't have to wait 5 years for the next season like Stranger Things. Stranger Things always it feels like every season takes 5 years to come out.
I could be I could be very, very off with this, and that nobody is super talented at trying to predict this kind of stuff. But I think honestly, I have a feeling that for some reason this show does not appear to me to be the type where I believe there'll be massive delays between seasons. I don't feel like it'll go that way.
I hope not, because I once this is over, I'm going to need more episodes immediately.
Yeah.
They have a plan to do 3 seasons of the show, so they already went that far and got that finite with their plan. At that point, I'd have to imagine as a part of their plan, they want to go ahead and get back out there and go ahead and shoot and pump out another season, in a somewhat standard, decent amount of time, for the fans. Eventually, some of these studios and streaming services and stuff like that are going to realize that, that the fans aren't a fan or really into some of these, 2-3 year droughts between seasons of these shows. It's
because you're forgetting about it. You're that show's coming back.
Yeah, it's almost like you have to completely try to reconnect and relearn the characters of the show and everything. It's crazy. But that's for another conversation. That we have often. Over on Andres' YouTube channel and here on the Bleeding Edge. We are not fans of these big ass 2 and 3 year gaps.
No.
But I don't know. That just started happening in the last couple of years, really. So it's kind of a new phenomenon, to be honest with you.
Yeah, this is unfortunate.
Up until a couple of years ago, shows like Game of Thrones were spitting out their seasons pretty much, every other year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but now it's become either 2 or 3 years they come out.
It gets doable. If you look at the actual years that the Game of Thrones existed, and then you look at the amount of seasons, there wasn't a ton of of time in between the seasons. There wasn't a lot.
No, not in the first 5 seasons, I think. Yeah, it started around 6 when they started.
You're right. Most definitely. Even I know that in the latter seasons or whatever, there were big breaks in between.
Yeah.
Which does happen with some shows. Anyways, so back to my fucked up, discombobulated synopsis here. So, Hank takes refuge. Hank being the on the run dad of Ronnie. In the black spot, the sort of half-ass club / house that Halloran got for the military, which they think is so safe for some reason. I have no idea why. But anyways, until Charlotte can get him out of Derry, much to Halloran's dismay. I did not realize that Charlotte had a plan to get to get him out of Derry, but that's interesting. I thought that Ingrid was going to get him out. Leroy suggests using Halloran's enhanced gift to find the pillars, much to Halloran's anger, because Halloran just wants to drink and do drugs and not go back to the sewers at all. He's not down with that. He looks all sweaty and sick and fucking ill and all that shit ever since he got out of the fucking sewers, like he's not well, mentally or physically, Halloran. Obviously, eventually he's going to get his shit together, and be okay. We know that. But Marge confronts her former friend group, the patty cakes, I guess they're called, those assholes as they are. And she and Rich get closer, which is wonderful. We like to see that. Lily discovers that Ingrid was the clown they saw in previous experiences, and she was searching for Pennywise, her father. Okay, so I'll stop there. Are they suggesting that Pennywise is Ingrid's father?
Yes.
No.
So, well,
sort of.
That's not what they're saying, but Pennywise
is that what was going on when the human version of Pennywise appeared?
Yes. So that there was a human version of Pennywise, and whenever the entity I assume kills him.
He can create. He can be any form he wants.
He can, but I imagine he had to kill him. He couldn't have two. And so he found the Pennywise form to be the most appealing and most effective towards kids. So it becomes his favorite form after that, which I assume takes place probably long before the 1935, obviously. Whenever she was young,
1906.
So at least like 27 year cycles ago. And he basically just takes that form.
Well, yeah, just think about when the first actual circuses, shows started coming out in America. You know what I mean? That would be when he would have actually, had the opportunity to learn or see a clown.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if I'm not sure if many circuses came to Derry, so I don't know.
They would have. Derry was somewhat a somewhat, it seems, a legitimate town historically. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And knowing Pennywise, the little bit I do know about him, he does have to actually see or experience or be around some other form of his own in order to emulate it or copy it or become it.
Mm-hmm.
This scene, this part of the episode, not to go too far, but this confirmed that this is what it took. It took Ingrid's father, who played the Pennywise dancing clown in the circus, as that form. And
okay. Thank you for explaining all that confusing stuff for me, because that was a little bit confusing for me in the episode, Andres, and now I get it a lot more. Now I'm understanding what some of those scenes meant. So listen, I'll go back over to you, Greg, since we wrapped up with you on the last round. I'll go to you first this time. Where I ended was right when Lily discovers in that scary scene where they get haunted again by Pennywise, that Ingrid was the clown they saw in previous experiences.
Right. So to hop on where we had started. So Halloran is going through it. He's almost I think he's absolutely shook by Pennywise opening his box. And he says he doesn't know if he can close it again. So he's just trying to dull it with drink, and he's just I'm sure it's just sending him through a whirl. So I mean, obviously, knowing Stephen King lore, he figures it out. But it's just like I'm interested in, kind of excited to see how he closes his box again. Because obviously, y'all know Dr. Sleep, Danny, he has several boxes that he locks away
Yeah.
in his head. And so Halloran, I feel like he's going to have to do something similar to that, just like how he teaches Danny. He's like, just kind of break it all up. And so I'm really excited to see Halloran get that fixed up. And obviously knowing what happens in the books and everything about the history of it, that once I started seeing everybody really having fun and setting up into the black spot, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be awful." But yeah, I don't mind that they're adding in the whole Ingrid periwinkle. I said it at the beginning of this at this review, that it's just like I I don't mind that they're doing it, but it kind of, I just want to see Pennywise. Just give me the clown. I don't want this other clown.
Well, Andres called it, that actress being like literally the biggest, honestly, the biggest named actress in the show. She had to eventually become something.
I know, but it's just, it upsets me. But I'm just like, just give me Pennywise. But I get why it's storytelling. They got to have multiple things happening at once. But yeah, it just, that's really my only thing, because I'm mad that we haven't seen enough of him yet, and the show's almost over. But yeah, and I'll leave it there.
Well, I didn't get the, I mean, at least we'll have to see what happens, but I didn't get the notion that she's going to start, pulling off this whole clown persona now all the time or something like that, we'll see, you know what I'm saying? But
we got 2 more episodes. I would not be surprised, but yeah, or something is going to happen.
I'm still not even really sure I understand what that's really all about, to be honest with you. Honestly, this episode and other episodes of this show have sort of like kind of left you wondering at times with some of the events, But Andre's the pop culture guy, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I was happy, at the moment when Lily went upstairs and like saw the pictures of Ingrid's photos. And by the way, it was cool that they confirmed that the meat butcher was the husband for her. I totally forgot that was the person we saw earlier. So that was like, oh, it was that person that was the husband. And so as as a person that loves the It movies, it was cool that it confirmed that this form that Pennywise took from the 2016 timeline was from here. This person, Ingrid, and the reasons she dressed. So to answer kind of your question, Jeff. So apparently, she thinks that Pennywise is like possessing the dad, but she doesn't realize that the dad is dead. It's just that Pennywise is just taking the form and just taking the form of her dad. And so, because there was a line in that scene, she saying that.
What does that have to do with her dressing as the clown?
She used to do the circus with her dad, and she had a character called Perry.
Oh, okay. So this is the part of it.
Yeah, she also was a clown called Periwinkle.
It's a part of the family practice. I get it.
Yeah, exactly. And we saw her in episode 3. That very creepy, like almost like Pennywise, and then it just confirms that she was the daughter of that Pennywise, the dancing clown human that was playing that character. So that was really cool. Really great scene. Really like scary. Like the fact that she thinks that Pennywise, it is like her dad, and she thinks that it's possessing her dad, and like she's trying to like. Apparently, she was trying to like. She wants to what's the word? Liberate her dad from Pennywise, the alien.
It's almost like she hasn't visited or seen this Pennywise version of her dad in a really long time. Because she was surprised that Lily actually had seen Pennywise.
Yes, because she was supposed to, because she knows about the cycle, because she knows that last time she saw her was in the 1935. So she was trying to like I think see him again in the cemetery, but then because of the kids and her, she kind of thought like, okay,
Yeah.
something happens.
She thinks if Pennywise sees her in her little clown outfit, that it'll awaken her father in
yeah, exactly.
So,
Which and so it was really a shocking twist there, and I thought that it was handled well, and so I was happy that they confirmed that. And then getting into the shiny stuff, like of course I'm a big shiny guy. I love the actor that plays Dick here. He is so amazing, and I like how the way they're showing the trauma of like him now, like seeing all the dead people. It's so much like what Danny had to deal with in Doctor Sleep, and same thing with like the other ghost movie, The Sixth Sense, with that kid. Like he sees dead people, and so like I am kind of curious, as Greg said before, like how is Dick gonna like track all the like the spirits back to that black box, because I am curious about that, because
I mean, he obviously does it.
yeah,
But I just want to see. I just want to see
I
how.
want to see, yeah. Because because out of the characters, because the kids can easily be killed towards the end of the series. Dick cannot be killed this series because we know he survives like later on. So like he's the only one that I know he's gonna survive with the events.
I think he's pretty confused because of the events of the last episode. As far as the fact that basically he got knocked out and woke up in some different dimension. You know what I'm saying? That he was not like used to or never been to before or whatever. Like a dream almost, right? And then his box got opened there of all places. I think he's confused.
Yeah.
And I bet you he's never encountered a shine like this before. That like usually he's the one always like getting into people's heads. I bet you he's never had anybody that.
He's also always in control. When he's dealing with the boxes and going into the sort of ether dimension or whatever that they're able to go into. You know what I'm saying? When he in episode 5, he was actually knocked out and then like inserted into a dimension. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Before I go into the March thing, I just want to bring this up because I saw this in the behind the scenes stuff. So like I think with the shine box this time, because we're bringing up how like Dick is controlling his abilities, because throughout the series he's able to control his abilities, but because now the box is released, his powers are going to be way more powerful, and like this is where he's not going to be in control of his shine. That's the thing that was interesting about the behind the scenes. They're saying that because the like he was in control of the power, but he hasn't yet tapped into the more powerful abilities of the shine yet, and because he has way more powerful. It's just he hasn't used them yet. So like this moment now is that he really is not in control of his abilities now because of this this thing that happened last week. So I'm very curious how he's gonna control it again and like trapped it back to where it used to be for him beginning of the series. And then just wrapping up, I really love Marge. I think she's a great character. Not my favorite, but I'm happy that she's redeeming herself. That was such a funny scene where she like scared the patty cakes. By the way, great Mean Girls name, Patty Cakes. I think that's probably the best name for a Mean Girls group. I was so happy when she showed her eye to them and pay back what they were doing to her friend and Ronnie in general. And I really like the kind of romance between her and Richie. That's really cool. Like I like how he's not bothered by her eye. He thinks of it as cool. I really like one thing I will say about this show about the kids is that thank goodness there's not too many kids, because that's a big issue with the movies. It's like there's so many kids. Like I had to remember, like, oh yeah, this kid is here. Like I always forget that what is it Stanley is in that group, and it's like, oh, he's in this group, and especially because like how important he is in chapter 2, I was like, oh, okay. And you
It's
know,
funny you
besides,
say that because in the first episode of the show,
yeah,
I couldn't stand those kids. And obviously what happens, like they all just get wiped out. I'm like, oh, thank God. And so
yeah, no,
and so now we got a new fresh batch. And I was like, okay, I like these guys a lot more.
yeah. Yeah, so I'm happy they're like, I like that the kids are like small group, and like I like them,
Yeah.
because that was something I didn't like about the movies, is that there were way too many, and it was like hard for me to like remember their names, and like, you know,
Right.
because, you know, so but yeah, overall I love this section. This section is my favorite part about this episode, because it confirms so much of my theories, and like I was like, oh, thank you for confirming this and confirming that, and you know, just developing the characters. That's all I have to say.
All right, Cyber, so wrap us up.
All right. Can you refresh me, please?
Yes, sir. We are wrapping up basically right at the end of the scene where Lily realizes that Ingrid is a bad guy and she puts on her clown costume.
Okay. So, you know, I think the reveal of, you know, Ingrid being, you know, related to Pennywise was something that was mentioned earlier in another episode, that we saw that there was going to be some connection to Pennywise. And we officially get it in this episode, that she is pining after him, that she is helping him, assisting him, and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, with Madeline Stowe being the biggest name in the show, like everyone's kind of mentioned, you know, we knew she was going to be something big. And so I think they did a good job of, you know, keeping that pretty much under wraps until this episode. And I think that it was really fun finding out that she actually is a villain. And kind of, you're kind of like, oh, that's too bad, because, you know, she's having that secret affair with the one girl, Mary's or whatever her name is, father. And you're like, oh no, she is a bad guy. You're like, oh, that sucks. But at the same time, you're like, why is she so obsessed thinking that this is her father? And so, you know, she explains that she thinks it's her father and stuff like that, that it has to do something with her father and all this kind of stuff. And you're just kind of like sitting there going, huh? like, I'm sorry, it's your father, yet it's an alien entity. Your father's an alien entity. Like, that makes no sense. But then, you know, it's kind of like, you're like, okay, there's something more to this than meets the eye. But somehow Pennywise has entranced her and made her think these things. So it's at the same time, you're like, ooh, I think she's being used. But at the same time, is the father somehow her real father a part of this and stuff like that? So it like leaves a lot of questions of like what's actually really going on there. But at the same time, you're like, you're getting this back history in the story, and you're like, well, that's interesting. And as it was mentioned about Pennywise, you know, taking on the form of the clown, you know, and, you know, clowns being introduced into society, or, you know, being shown to people as, you know, entertainment, something like that. I mean, that goes back to the 1800s. I mean, that was going on back then. Burnham and Bailey was around in the late 1800s. So clowns themselves, I think, have been around actually for centuries. They've actually been around since, I think, even over in France, I think they had them like back in the 1500s, you know, over like as court gestures, but they were basically clowns. So that's something that I'm sure Pennywise could have came across really easily in his time, even in Derry, because clowns were always considered a form of entertainment or court gestures or whatever you want to call them, you know, throughout the centuries. So I think that's something that would, you know, have been very relative to him being able to find out. But the whole thing about, you know, Ingrid actually putting on a Pennywise outfit and like being at those different spots at those different times was like, what the fuck is going on here? This is kind of a weird fetish. Like, I mean, I know you're trying to help out because you think it's your father, but at the same time, it's like, why are you dressing like a fucking clown? Like, that was just kind of funny. And at the same time, I was kind of like, wow, like that was supposed to be her. I'm like, oh, so we actually haven't actually seen Pennywise until last episode. I'm like, oh, what? I'm like, oh, man, that kills that for me. I'm like, I thought that was actually Pennywise we saw briefly, okay? I'm like, he's actually translucing himself out there. And I'm like, no, it's her. I'm like, in a costume. Oh. But anyways, that whole thing I thought was kind of an interesting twist too, as well. That her dressing up as Pennywise versus just being kind of helping Pennywise out. But that whole conversation that Ingrid has with Lily, I think is very interesting. You can see how concerned Lily is and how confused she is and how she's like scared. And I think once again, going back to what Jeff said, that girl that plays Lily, I think is doing a really great job in the series. She's a really decent actress. And so I think that all of her emotions and everything throughout this series have been done really well. And I think she did really good in that sequence too. But just a really, interesting section that really gave us a lot of information that we did not expect, but we did kind of think that it might happen. And at the same time, it was like, oh, finally we get to really know what Madeline Stowe's character is all about. We're like, oh, we finally get kind of that information. And I'm glad it wasn't revealed earlier in the series. I'm glad it took, till the 6th episode to really explain that. Because then it kind of, I feel if it been done earlier, we could have gotten to this episode and been like, man, I wish I had known that now versus then. It's kind of one of those things like,
yeah.
They timed it just right for the series, and I think they did a good job with that. So yeah, really fantastic section, really interesting information that we get, and I think Madeline Stowe has been absolutely fantastic in the series as well.
Yeah, I agree. Jeff, before because I forgot about something that Saber brought up now. The picture, it totally explained why the police saw the clown in the picture, because that was her, not Pennywise, because in the other pictures they saw other things besides trees, because it knew how to, because it can alter the pictures, but that picture he couldn't alter because that was her. That was the thing that I liked about that scene. It was like, oh, so the picture that they saw for that clown, it wasn't Pennywise, it was her, which was like, oh my god, that makes sense. And it makes sense why Will saw that it wasn't Pennywise. He actually saw her during that cemetery. But anyway, that's all I had to say about that, because that moment I was like, oh shit, that was a crazy reveal.
Okay. I appreciate your excitement, sir.
Just say
that is wonderful. That is wonderful. So, back to my all over the map Wikipedia synopsis here, which I'm seriously going to file a complaint with Wikipedia for these synopses during this show. They are awful. They are like literally not even close to the actual timelines of the episodes. So anyways, Lily discovers that Ingrid was the clown, as I already mentioned. They saw in previous experiences as she was searching for Pennywise, her father. She explains that her father left, but she stayed in Derry. In 1935, she saw Pennywise disguised as her father, killing a girl at Juniper Hill. Makes perfect sense that that Pennywise would use Juniper Hill as a feeding ground, obviously made perfect sense, right? Those of us that already mentioned that we all knew Juniper Hill was going to end up being, some sort of nefarious place, but justifies that entity as his father and his killing of children by her father's experiences in those years apart. Ingrid proposes Lily to go with her and let the entity, Pennywise, become her father. But Lily runs away. And I think actually cuts Ingrid. Bowers, relieved from his position, receives a tip-off about Hank's location at the Black Room or whatever, and leads a group of armed white supremacist KKK guys, masked men, to the black spot. And that is the end of the episode. We go to black at that point. So, Cyber, sir, I'll go back to you and let you go ahead and take a shot at the last segment here.
Honestly, the last portion of this episode, I think, was my least favorite of the episode. I thought that it was very abruptly ended. and left on that kind of interesting thought process. You know, I mean, back in the 60s, that was very common, most definitely, you know, but at the same time, it was kind of like really? Like, this is how you're doing it? Okay. But anyways, it definitely was, you know, kind of, you know, the whole thought process of making Lily the new daughter of Pennywise. That was kind of freaking insane. It was kind of like Lily's kind of like, fuck no, like what? Why would the fuck would I want to be an alien's daughter? Like, you know what I mean? You know, he doesn't know she's an alien, but at the same time, it's kind of like, why the fuck would I want to be? Why would I want this creature to be my father? You know, my father is dead. You know, like that's just not, you know, in the cards. And it was kind of like, okay, you're basically insane, lady, and you want me to do that. Okay, yeah, sure, I'll do that. Not and run away. You know, it's kind of one of those situations, just like, okay. But at the same time, I think that they could have done that a little better. I think they could have like either spliced it somehow to be a little more coherent, because I feel it was straightforward, but at the same time, I think it just could have been a little more. I don't know how to put it. I think it could have been better. It just could have been a better way of like it, you know, segueing into her becoming Pennywise's daughter. But I mean, the flashbacks there that they give during this section too, that go to black and white, with, you know, the younger Ingrid and the little girl, I think is very interesting. We get kind of that interesting take where Pennywise turns into her father, and he's talking to her through the window. He eats and kills the little girl, and we see the blood running under the door, which was interesting. And once again, the black and white sequence was really fantastic done. That big bright red color was really amazingly done, giving you that essence of blood and mayhem and death. And that was done really coolly. But like how Bill Skarsgård looked like the father was freaking hilarious. It was like a hillbilly stuck a sloth or something. I don't like it. That's just what it looked like to me. It looked like sloth and a hillbilly were mixed. And I don't know what they were doing with the makeup effects on him, but it was like, this is supposed to be her father, like from the, you know, like however long he's been gone. You know, probably it's, you know, probably years or something like that. They don't explain how long he's been gone, but like even if he was around even like the 1910s or whatever, like 20 years prior, it's still, I was like, wow, that's one goofy ass motherfucker. I'm like, what the fuck was that? So I was laughing while I was watching that, unfortunately, because he looked hilarious. And so I was like, kind of, and as he was talking, it was kind of cracking me up too. But at the same time, it was just like, real wow. I'm like, this is interesting having Pennywise betray, you know, this father figure, this character, and Bill Skarsgård gets to, you know, play this other character too as well, which is kind of cool. But that whole sequence, I love it when like how Pennywise, like, you know, starts off, he's like, I finally get to meet you and all this kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden it starts going after them and doing his like head thing again, where his teeth are all sprawled out and crap. Like that was really cool. And, I absolutely, I love that sequence. I thought it was so really good. And, you know, Lily booking it out of there was smart. I'm really glad about that. Yes, a sloth hillbilly was created, was new. It's something new that they created. That's right, Andres. And so we kind of leading up to that end part where, you know, that cop guy whose last name is Bowers, hence he's got to be related to Henry Bowers somehow. That to me,
yes,
he's his grandpa.
He's his grandpa. That's what I think. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, once again, taking it back to one of those, you know, the Bowers, you know, that what a great like send back to the actual original story. And really, you know, he gets, you know, kicked out of the police force, and you're just like, well, you're kind of a fucking idiot. So what were you expecting, bro? You know, the townspeople weren't happy with what you were doing. So, you know, because you weren't getting done what they wanted. So them like having the episode end with them going to find where that place that we have seen throughout the first several episodes that the guys have put together, and stuff like that. That's kind of like their hideaway. I think that was a weird way of ending the episode without going after them. And I'm just like, okay, the town people are voting. Oh, this is not good. But I forgot to mention earlier about the Shine guy from The Shining. That scene with the father of Mike's grandfather, great grandfather, is that sequence was very interesting too as well. I forgot to mention that, and their conversation, him and that guy that unfortunately shot his partner. That was a really great conversation because you get to know a little bit more about the Shine. You get to know a little bit more about how he's dealing with it, and kind of that he has this process that he used to be able to, Dick O'Halloran, and how he, basically is how he keeps himself centered and sane. And you're like, Pennywise was able to take that away, and you're like, holy shit. Once again, showing Pennywise is super fucking powerful. And, as you had mentioned earlier, Jeff, about how Pennywise keeps making his way into these situations, how powerful his powers are in his power set. It just goes to show you that this alien entity creature is basically boundless. If you think about it, his powers are like freaking beyond anything we've ever seen. And the fact that he has the ability to superimpose himself into all these different types of things, is pretty impressive. Just like in the original TV movie, when he inserts himself into the pictures that they're looking at, the Losers Club. I mean, that's pretty impressive. As we saw in the, the other It films, where he superimposes himself into different situations and stuff like that. It shows like this creature has some sort of unanimous powers that are just beyond what we can understand. And I think that, kind of that gives you kind of that great kind of thought process of there's limited potential there. There's unlimited potential and what Pennywise can do. So I think this episode does a good job of kind of showing even more of Pennywise's abilities and kind of how he's able to lure children into him, at the same time learning people to help him too. So I think the ending of the episode was my least favorite part of the episode, but still very good. And I think a very solid ending to the episode.
Okay, most definitely. And I mean, from what I remember reading about Pennywise's powers, he essentially is like the equivalent of Legion or Professor Xavier, as far as being like, or the Shadow King from like X-Men. He's literally a super powerful telekinetic and like psychonic user, so he could really get in the heads of people. But Greg, go ahead, sir. Wrap up your last thoughts.
So I agree with Cyber that the ending of the episode is abrupt. I felt it was more abrupt because I was like, oh shit, I wanted to see what happened next. Now I got to wait a week. I liked how it almost kind of made me forget what was about to happen, with obviously Rich playing the drums, Marge saying like, oh, he's so good. I love I think they called it Air Force Coke or something, the rum and Coke or whatever they were drinking. And there was an air of just like, you kind of forgot you were in Derry for a moment. And it's just like everything was really happy. And then obviously here comes the men in the masks and all hell is about to break loose. Honestly, this episode, my biggest complaint is it left me just wanting more. And I was just like, why did it have to end there? But yeah, I'll keep it short. But it's very strong. I'm on pins and needles waiting to see what happens next week. So I'm all for it.
Okay, sir. Yeah, they did a really good job of giving us a good episode to make us speculate and want more. Want the next episode, without question. They built up, really well in that episode. But Andre, sir, go ahead, sir, wrap us up.
Yeah. I don't mind the ending. I mean, it's your typical cliffhanger. You know, it's like, I mean, like if you didn't see the preview, it's like, oh yeah, this unfortunate black spot is gonna be destroyed. You know, if you know about your it stuff and all that. So I didn't mind it. It's like, you know, it's that TV classic, like, you know, cliffhanger. It's like, oh, what's gonna happen
next week?
next week? You
Find
know,
out what happened.
it happens. Save back channel, save back time.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't mind that, but I thought this section was pretty cool. You know, seeing Dick, you know, trying to like, I don't know, like trying to get himself, you know, back to like normalcy, you know, in that bar, you know, because he's trying his best to not think about the ghosts and the spirits and all that. Like a really great shot, you know, it's very like long take and just a well directed episode here. One thing I appreciate about the series that they like all these all these episodes have been hour long, which is great. They have paced themselves so well, which is good because a couple of the shows that me, Jeff, and Cyber have been reviewing this last couple months, you know, since last August, their hours have been so inconsistent. Like some episodes are like 40, and then like some of them are like 30, which is weird. I'm so happy that Welcome to Derry has been so far been hour long, which is great. And so for this last few parts, like I like that we taking our moment to like, you know, because we don't know if Marge, Richie, and like the dad, Ronnie, and Will are gonna be like okay, because you don't know they're gonna get like killed or like get caught in the fire, you know, like next week.
The only one who is confirmed to be okay is Will, because he has to give birth to Mike.
Yeah. So
everybody else is like, what? Yeah,
exactly. And I can't I can't believe Bowers is gonna just take the mob and gonna kill this hack. It's just crazy how powerful, like as Cyber said before, and even Jeff, like good point. Like he is as powerful as Professor X or like Shadow King. Just how powerful it is to influence these people and to go the extreme measure of killing people, you know? And it's really scary. And I think that scene where, you know, the Byers just goes to the bar, you know, like the bar that we saw briefly a couple episodes ago, and like tells the people that I got this anonymous tip from a white woman. Like I think it was Ingrid that tipped off.
Don't let me forget to mention, what about Richie playing the drums?
Oh yeah, Richie, great player. I mean, well, when we first meet him, he was a drummer, so I like that they paid it off that he's a great drummer. I love that. Oh, he was a player. I love him. He was so good at playing the drums. He was very professional. And I like that, you know, him and Marge were like getting close, which is cool. I like their like somewhat romance.
They were drinking rum and cokes.
Yes, because what was it? The soldiers say, "Oh, you're tasting." Was it the Air Force Coke? You know, I was like, oh, okay, they're strong drinks, and I like how Marge says like, "Oh my god, my Air Force drink is awesome." So or Coke is awesome.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Maybe it was the cocaine.
Oh yeah, because remember, I don't know when, you know, Coke became an actual drink, but
I can't remember. I thought it was actually many years previously that they actually got Coke out of Coca-Cola, but I could be wrong.
I'm gonna check it now because I am kind of curious, but
I do know for a fact that there was a period of time where there was actual cocaine in Coca-Cola.
Oh really? Okay, because I think that's what happened, but. Anyway,
am I right? Am I right about that, guys? Can somebody back me up on that? Was there not a period of time in American history where Coca-Cola had?
It was whenever Coke was first starting. I doubt they took it out. I think it was out of Coca-Cola by 1960.
It was. It was. Those were just alcoholic mixed drinks that they were drinking into that bar in the spot or whatever. You know.
Okay.
They removed cocaine from Coca-Cola way back in like the 1920s or 30s.
Yeah, I just checked. It was like a small amount of cocaine from in the original ingredient, but they took it out like a long time ago.
Man, the history of illicit drugs being like legally sold in back in the day in Western countries is very interesting. You know, at one point, like everything from meth to fucking cocaine to like everything was just like out there legally to buy.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, and then last thing to address the episode. Oh yeah, why did Ingrid say that? Oh, maybe Pennywise will become your new dad. It's like no way. He's not gonna go for that. Like that was so crazy. I agree with Cyber when Ingrid was trying to like desperately, I don't know, like trying to stop her for going to Pennywise was kind of crazy. And like saying that you could be pretending to be your dad again, like that was a crazy moment. I was like, and it was really cool that Lily used the dagger to like cut her hand, which was really cool. So yeah, it was a decent ending. It was that classic TV like cliffhanger that we usually get sometimes in these shows. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, again, I mean, what is going on with Pennywise having actual interest with adults all of a sudden? You know what I'm saying? Like, since when does he have a desire to actually have some sort of relationship with a human being? Like,
I think, yeah, I think she's
someone-
using her.
Yeah, it's someone that he can use. He's done it before.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
no, it makes sense. It makes sense to use her to recruit her to use her to get the children. It makes sense.
So like he manipulates people to help him out and do his bidding, and unfortunately this crazy woman who's gone through some probably serious trauma in her past, which we'll hopefully get to see, is going to it's just something Pennywise has done before, and
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure she probably back in the day or whatever, probably helped him kill and eat children or whatever, at that fucking psych house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That would have been an ideal spot for him to go ahead and steal kids. But all right, guys. Why don't we go ahead and do our rankings or ratings for episode 6 so that we can go ahead and wrap up this episode 6 recap. I'll start off by giving episode 6 a solid 8.5. Andre's the pop culture guy.
Okay. This is kind of crazy. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. It was a really great episode. I mean, I think what made episode 6 different from like usually the episode 6 that we always get from the shows is that it actually confirmed theories and ideas that were been kind of developing throughout the series, and I like that we got paid off. I agree with Cyber, because if you reveal it too early, it's like, oh, we got nothing to like speculate, or like, it's like nothing like surprise or something like that will happen throughout the series. So I was very happy that this episode, and something I like about the series, they did a good job of revealing Pennywise in his full glory last week. I like that this week we got the big reveal of Ingrid being the girl Pennywise from the 1906. So yeah, great episode, well paced, love the performances, very excited for next week. 2 more, which I'm not happy. We need more episodes, as Greg said.
Okay, Greg.
Episode 6, definitely going to give it. I'm torn. I'm gonna agree with Jeff. 8.5. It was good. I would have given it a 9, but I'll give it an 8.5. It left me wanting more. Every episode is paid off in some way, and I'm very, very excited for the next episode.
I feel like I've already given out some 9s. I've got to kind of balance things out with my ratings for the season, So, my mind's in a lot of different directions when it comes to that stuff. Cyber, what's your rating?
I'll give this one a solid 10. I absolutely loved it, liked it, enjoyed it, thought it was entertaining, and I have to give it a 10.
Cyber, do me a favor, sir. Plug and unplug your cord for your microphone before you do your plug, sir. And it will awesomely clean up your audio. Okay, let's do our plugs since we are done, gentlemen, with our recap of it. Welcome to Derry, episode 6. I will start off with you, Greg. Thanks for joining us tonight for the recap. And here is your YouTube channel. Please go ahead and say whatever you want about your channel.
Yeah, so the Caped Complainers, we've taken a long hiatus, but we decided in January of 2026 we will be starting season 6 of our show. So we're really excited to get that started again. So feel free to check out some of our past stuff. You can find us on Spotify, basically everywhere podcasts are heard. And yeah, so come listen to us.
Okay, short and sweet, which we appreciate over here on the MCU'S Bleeding Edge. Thank you, Greg. You are a wonderful guest creator, sir. Great job tonight. Lots of very valuable opinions and great cross chatter as well. Cyberneticshark, sir. Please, sir. You are next.
Let's go, folks. As always, if you enjoy me here on the panel or as a moderator on the MCU's Bleeding Edge, you can check out my solo content. You'll find me under Cyberneticshark. You'll find my main hub is YouTube, but you can also find me on TikTok, Patreon, X, Threads, Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, many places.
OnlyFans,
OnlyFans,
wherever.
Yes, wherever you can find me, you'll find me. But anywho, if you haven't checked out my 2 most recent videos, Tron Ares review and the trailer reaction to Scream 7, those are my 2 most recent reviews. Check those out if you haven't had a chance to. If you haven't checked out my shorts recently, I put up quite a few Sora 2 videos and a couple mini reviews. Most recently I put up my Greenland mini review. Just finally watched that film. Really great film if you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen Rebirth, give that mini review a check out too. Most recent Sora, as you can see here, is me meeting Benjamin Franklin. So if you haven't seen that, check that out too as well. Enjoy putting up those little stories for you guys. They're really fun, super hilarious and fun. Sometimes the graphics are hilarious, like how bad they can be, and just a fun little thing. If you enjoy watching them, keep on watching them. I will have my trailer reaction up for Project Hail Mary tonight, so keep your eyes out for that one as it's dropping. And want to thank everyone for watching us here on the MCU's Bleeding Edge. Keep on watching us here. Keep on subscribing and watching our content, all us wonderful creators, and help us become a powerhouse out there to you guys.
Okay, thank you, Sex. Thank you very much, Cyber. Andre's the pop culture guy, sir. Have at it.
Hello, everyone. This is Andre's Pop Culture Guy. Thank you for, oh my God, coming for it. Welcome to Derry, episode 6. It was a blast. Thank you, Greg, for coming. It was awesome to see you again. Yeah, so just recently posted my review to Killed for your anniversary for my Bon Mia that happened last month. So you can check that out. Hopefully I can get out my retrospective/reviews on that in Thunderbolt and going to Iron soon. Shorts, I recently did my Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. By the way, get a shout out to the Franchise Addict. I was there over their channel yesterday recording a review of the movie, the 3rd installment of the Indiana Jones movie, Last Crusade. That was fun. So I think it's there in live stream. So check it out. I was there. I was with, sorry, gotta lose my voice. Luke and Chris and the another panelist named Peter. It was a blast. Sorry about my voice. So you can check that out with my shorts there. And I usually do movie clips. Starting tonight, I'm gonna do Commando. So hopefully they will do very well for this December. No live stream reviews. At this moment, I need to talk to Jeff to see what we're gonna do. I know that we're gonna do a top villain list for the MCU, so that will be the last thing we'll do in December. So, but yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So just slowing down right now. My God.
Okay. Well, folks, we are not slowing down this week because on Friday evening, although that will be irrelevant to those of you who catch us in audio form, in whatever day or night or whatever that you catch our Friday show, we will be reviewing Cyber's pick, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. That's on that show. So we'll be back again next week for it. Welcome to Derry episode 7 with Cyber moderating. For all the wonderful creators here tonight on the panel, getting after it, doing a great job on this episode recap of it. Welcome to Derry. Many thanks, and many thanks to our supporters. We appreciate all of you. Rate and follow the podcast, and we're out of here. So